Drugs?
I think so.
Thank you. No, I'm straight.
Top Gun made $176 million on a $15 million budget. Highest grossing film of 1986. Kelly McGillis was 28. Juilliard trained, already Golden Globe nominated for Witness with Harrison Ford, and now she's the love interest in the biggest movie in America. Things were looking pretty good. After Top Gun, she did The Accused with Jodie Foster, which did well. Then in 1989, she married a guy named Fred Tillman. That turned out to be a huge mistake. Marriage ended after he got arrested for soliciting an undercover cop posing as a prostitute. McGillis just left Hollywood after that, moved to Key West, opened a Caribbean restaurant. She'd been struggling with alcohol for years at that point, and she finally got sober down there. She came out publicly in 2009, completely walked away from the industry that had made her famous. A few years ago, reporters asked if she'd been contacted about the Top Gun sequel. She said no, she didn't even get the call. And she knew exactly why. I'm old, and I'm fat, and I look age-appropriate for what my age is. And that is not what that whole scene is about. She works at a rehab center in New Jersey now, helping women with addiction. Hollywood just buried her completely. Flashdance made $200 million on an $8 million budget. Jennifer Beals was 19, a sophomore at Yale, and suddenly she's the biggest young star in America. Golden Globe nomination, covers of everything. There was just one small issue though, she couldn't dance. The studio used 4 different bodies to create her performance. The leg warmer routine, the famous water scene, the big audition at the end, most of that was a French dancer. Her name wasn't in the credits. The studio told her to keep it quiet. When all this came out, it was a mess. Beals was now the most famous actress in America for something she couldn't actually do. Every dance movie that came along, and there were a lot in the 80s, she couldn't take. Any role that needed real physical performance was out. And after the body double scandal, casting directors were looking at her wondering what else might not be real. So she went back to Yale, finished her degree, turned down St. Elmo's Fire and a Flashdance sequel. Spent the next 20 years working in indie films and European productions that nobody saw. Didn't hit the mainstream again until The L Word in 2004. Dirty Dancing made $218 million. Jennifer Grey was America's sweetheart. And while the movie was still in theaters, casting directors were already telling her there weren't enough roles for actresses who looked like her. Her mother had been on her about getting a nose job since she was a teenager. Her mother was an actress named Jo Wilder who'd had rhinoplasty herself. Her father was Joel Grey, who'd won an Oscar and he'd had one too. It ran in the family. Jennifer kept saying no. She called it surrendering, capitulating to the enemy. But the roles weren't coming, not the way they should for the lead of a $218 million hit. Eventually, she stopped saying no. She got rhinoplasty. Then she got a second one to fix something from the first. When it was done, she didn't look like the person audiences had fallen for. First time she went out after the surgery was some movie premiere. Michael Douglas, a friend of hers, walked right past her. Didn't recognize her. She had to stop him and explain. In the world's eyes, I was no longer me, she said. She spent years trying to figure out what she did wrong. I spent so much energy trying to figure out why I was banished from the kingdom. That's a lie. I banished myself. Phoebe Cates was 17 when she did the pool scene, and for the rest of her career, that's what people wanted to talk about. Fast Times launched a ridiculous number of people. Sean Penn, Nicolas Cage, Forrest Whitaker, Anthony Edwards all came out of that movie. But when people brought up Fast Times, they brought up that pool scene. And when they brought up that scene, they brought up Phoebe Cates. She came from showbiz. Her father was a Broadway producer. She'd been modeling since she was 10, dropped out of high school to do it full-time. By 17, she was in a movie that would follow her forever. A year later, she auditioned for The Big Chill. Didn't get the part. But she met Kevin Kline at the audition and they got married in 1989. She was 25, he was 41. They had 2 kids and made a pact. They'd alternate their film schedules so one parent would always be home. Her last major film was Princess Caribou in 1994. After that, she just stopped. Came out of retirement exactly once in 2001 as a favor to Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was directing the anniversary party. Then she opened a boutique on Manhattan's Upper East Side called Blue Tree and never looked back. Michael Shuffling played Jake Ryan in 16 Candles and then basically disappeared off the face of the earth. If you haven't seen the movie, Jake Ryan is the guy every teenage girl wanted, the perfect boyfriend. The ending of that film became one of the most romantic moments in teen movie history, and Michael played it so well that he set the standard for every movie boyfriend who came after. Viggo Mortensen auditioned for the same role, but Michael got the part, and it made him famous. After 16 Candles, he made about a dozen more movies. Vision Quest, Mermaids with Cher, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. None of them landed, and in 1991, after Wild Hearts came and went, he just stopped. He married his girlfriend, moved back to his hometown in Pennsylvania, and started making furniture by hand. That was 33 years ago. He has not given a single interview since 1991. There's no social media, no public appearances. There are almost no photographs of him after the early 90s. His wife told People magazine he's a very private person, very reclusive. The most famous movie boyfriend of the 80s is making furniture in rural Pennsylvania and nobody knows why. He never explained it, he just left and never came back. Tom Hulce beat out Mikhail Baryshnikov and David Bowie to play Mozart in Amadeus. He'd already done Animal House, but this was supposed to be the role that put him in a different league. The movie won 8 Oscars. Hulce was nominated for Best Actor. The award went to his co-star F. Murray Abraham, who played Salieri, the mediocre composer driven insane by Mozart's effortless talent. Abraham's career took off after that. Hulce kept working through the late 80s. He was good in Parenthood, but the parts he really wanted started going to other people. He was openly gay at a time when that could tank your career in Hollywood, and it probably did. He did the voice of Quasimodo in Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1996, and then acting was basically over for him. He told a reporter his brain just changed. He didn't want it anymore. So he started producing theater instead, and it turned out he was really good at it. Won a Tony for Spring Awakening, got nominated for American Idiot. He even helped get a film version of The Seagull made with Annette Bening. Spent the last 30 years helping other people's work get made. Here's something most people don't know about Lori Singer. Before she was the preacher's daughter in Footloose, she was a concert cellist who debuted as a soloist with the Oregon Symphony at 13 years old. At 14, she got accepted into Juilliard. She was the youngest student they'd ever taken. Then modeling happened, then a TV role on Fame happened, and then Footloose happened, and suddenly she's Newcomer of the Year, and Hollywood is very interested in Lori Singer. The problem was, Hollywood was only interested in one version of Lori Singer. After Footloose, the offers came in, but they were all the same role. She did the Falcon and the Snowman with Sean Penn. She did the Man with One Red Shoe with Tom Hanks. Same pattern every time. Robert Altman cast her as a depressed cellist in Shortcuts in 1993, which was probably her best performance. Then she did a sci-fi series on Fox, and after that she basically disappeared from Hollywood for nearly 20 years. What she did was go back to what she'd been doing before Hollywood interrupted her life. She went back to the cello. Eventually, she moved behind the camera and executive produced a documentary about abuse in the Catholic Church. It won 5 Emmys. Mia Sara was 18 when she made Ferris Bueller. That made her the only actual teenager in the main cast. Matthew Broderick was 23, Alan Ruck was 29. She spent the whole shoot surrounded by adults pretending to be high schoolers, and she hated it. Her word for the experience was cringy. She doesn't look back on Ferris Bueller fondly. She doesn't look back on Legend fondly either, the Ridley Scott film she made with Tom Cruise. Two iconic 80s movies, and she'd rather not talk about either of them. After Ferris Bueller, she married Sean Connery's son, had a kid, got divorced. Then she married Jim Henson's son. By 2010, she was mostly retired, just a mother with a really noisy, difficult house to maintain. She started writing poetry instead. For 14 years, she didn't appear in a single film. Then in 2025, Mike Flanagan, the guy who made Haunting of Hill House, reached out and asked if she'd ever want to work again. He offered her a role in The Life of Chuck, a Stephen King adaptation. She said yes and walked a red carpet for the first time in 15 years. Airplane was the highest-grossing comedy in history when it came out. Made for $3.5 million, earned $158 million. Robert Hayes was the lead, the traumatized pilot who has to land the plane after the crew gets food poisoning. He was perfect in it, and that was the problem. The thing that made him perfect for Airplane made him wrong for almost everything else. He kept trying. He made movies that nobody saw, like Trenchcoat or Take This Job and Shove It. He starred in 4 different TV series, and all of them got canceled. He did voice work, he did cameos, he voiced Iron Man in 3 different animated series. He even showed up in Sharknado's sequel, still sitting in a pilot seat. He's 78 now and still working occasionally. Out of everyone in this video, he probably had the steadiest career in terms of just staying employed and paying the bills. But he also had the most brutal gap between the peak and everything after. He starred in the biggest comedy of its era and never headlined a hit again. Deborah Foreman was so shy that her family sent her to modeling school in Texas just to get her to talk to people. 4 weeks after she moved to Los Angeles, she had her Actors Guild card. A few months after that, she was the lead in Valley Girl opposite Nicolas Cage. The whole movie cost $350,000 and made over $17 million. Michelle Pfeiffer was originally considered for the lead. It went to Foreman instead, and she was good enough to win the Most Promising New Star award. She worked through the rest of the 80s, Real Genius with Val Kilmer, a few horror films, some comedies. Then the 90s came and the scripts got worse and the budgets got smaller. The B-movie circuit was slowly eating her reputation. She couldn't find anything that matched what she was capable of. So she quit completely. Got into photography, started doing design work, ended up becoming a yoga instructor out in California. She's not on social media, she doesn't give interviews. There's almost no information about her life anywhere. She just went to complete anonymity. And from everything you can tell, that's exactly how she wanted it.